Welcome to SherGroup on the Sofa. I'm your host, Annalise James, and today we are again joined by CEO Claire Sandbrook of SherGroup. Hello.
Hello.
And we're talking about all sorts of fantastic solutions today, particularly
Marketing
and sales.
and sales.
Yes.
Very important.
So we've got two fantastic guests again joining us. One is Bruce King. Bruce King is a leading growth marketing and sales strategist who is recognised globally. 23 countries, is that right?
It's about 23 at the last count, yes.
That's amazing. And also a multiple author.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Thank
All
you.
his books.
All of his books. So welcome, Bruce.
Four of them bestsellers.
Oh my goodness, I love it. We're going to tap into some of that knowledge today. We also have Leanne Scott, who has worked in marketing and business for 19 years. She's currently the head of marketing for SherGroup, and she's passionate about how companies and businesses connect online with their customers.
Hi.
There we go. Here we are.
Yes.
So I thought we'd kickstart today with a little bit of a divisive question. Seeing as we've got some marketing, we've got some sales going on. So, what's more important, sales or marketing? What do we think?
It's a bit of a chicken and an egg kind of question. I think the two go hand in hand. Obviously, marketing's always going to think they're more important, and sales always think they're more important.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they have to coexist. They cannot stand independently.
Okay, interesting.
Let's see what Bruce thinks.
They're inextricably combined. Unless you have a totally online business, and even then, you're still selling when you're promoting your business online. And let's face it, you can do, for the average business who has to meet customers, you can do all the marketing you want, and you can bring in so many people. But unless you can sell to them, it's a waste of time.
That's exactly right. I suppose it's also about the processes behind that as well.
Indeed.
You've been doing some work with SherGroup on tightening up your processes with marketing and sales, haven't you?
Well, I think we've been on a journey in terms of combining marketing and sales into a sustainable process. I mean, I first met Bruce, 25. My daughter's 25, and it was before she was born. And he was speaking at the Institute of Directors in London, and he grabbed my attention because of his passion about sales. And so at that time we were in a professional services firm, and sales was, not something that was discussed between us as partners. But of course we all wanted more business, and we wanted business coming through the door. So I listened very carefully to what Bruce was saying, and it made an impression on me. And I think ever since then I've been building my brand and as the company, and looking for how to develop it with a clear sales strategy. And I wouldn't say it's been easy. I think sales is one of the most challenging aspects of owning a business. I think it's thoroughly underrated, and because often, people don't want to talk about it. They want to wrap it up as something else, call it something like business development. Well, of course it is business development. But actually, the nuts and bolts of it is sales, and he's, the expert on that. And I think that's why we want to share our experiences, to get more people comfortable about talking about sales.
Yeah, there's no harm in sales, is there?
No.
But Bruce, off camera, you were talking about how you believe that sometimes salespeople or sales functions sometimes get a bad rap. So why do you think that is? Why sales got such a bad reputation?
There's a company called OMG, the Objective Management Group, who specialise in assessing the competence of salespeople. They're the best in the world. They've carried out over 3 million of these assessments with professional full-time salespeople. And the CEO, Dave Curlin, announced the results of their findings over the last 10 to 15 years. And he said, rather bluntly, 74% of salespeople suck.
Oh my goodness.
Now, these are professional salespeople. Everybody in business is in sales, everybody.
Yeah, that's
And
absolutely right.
if you've not had any coaching in sales, boy, you're not going to be very good
No.
most of the time. So that's why they have a bad reputation. They say terrible things, they do terrible things, they don't know how to sell, and the average buyer now is far more sophisticated than they used to be many years ago, and they can spot some of the old-fashioned terrible tricks, manipulations that salespeople used to use, which just don't work anymore.
So what would you say then are some top tips then for people watching around sales? Like you said some things don't do, but what would you say, your 3 golden rules maybe?
I don't have 3 golden rules, I have about 300 or 400.
We haven't got that long.
Let me see if I can sum it up in a slightly different way. I wrote a definition of sales over 20 years ago. I've looked at it every year and I've never changed a word. And it goes like this. Selling is exposing companies and individuals to problems, some of which they maybe never knew they had or thought were unsolvable, and to opportunities that they may never have known existed, and showing them how your idea, product or service can help them solve those problems and exploit those opportunities, and helping them to buy, which is where the closing the sale comes in.
Well, closing, people are scared of closing, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's like a terrifying
You shouldn't have
asking
to.
people.
It's just a gentle nudge. It's not a close. It's a gentle nudge. It's a help them over the finishing line. Because every decision has some risk associated with it, and you need to make it as gentle and as subtle as possible. And if you spent the last 15 minutes to 2 hours helping people,
Yeah.
hey, you've got a great rapport going on. You've established a relationship. Salesperson should be, ultimately, their prospects or their customers or clients' trusted advisor.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it's true though. It really works. When you adopt that kind of approach,
Yeah.
it really does work, I think.
And marketing then is sort of laying the foundation for all this to
Yes.
happen. So it's sort of getting in front of people, and you're very passionate about connecting and engaging audiences. So talk just a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I've found is that the general rule is that people buy from people they like, who are like them, and so some research that was done recently, I think it was completed in 2019, showed that 96% of all transactions start on the internet. So that's kind of where marketing and sales connect and join together, because we have to educate the client on what we've got. We've got to show them that we're likable, and we've got to connect with them to show them that we can solve their current issue, whatever it is, whatever business you're in. And so marketing's got to lay that foundation, because that's the starting point of the transaction. We still need the salespeople to do that actual close, to show them that we really are what we say on websites, because so often you think, if I could just work with a company that's on the website, that'd be brilliant. If I could have that. But they need to meet with a salesperson or talk to a salesperson to ensure that the connection is there and that everything is aligned. And that's I think why you have to have the two working together, and you have to be talking the same story.
Absolutely. What you're talking about is knowing, liking and trusting, and building that with your audience. And for me, that actually comes down a lot to branding. So how do you think that SherGroup has branded itself to enable customers to know, like and trust you?
Well, we had to change from being an old-style law firm into a corporate animal, and I probably overthought it in terms of what we're trying to do. But we're taking many years of heritage, 200 years of heritage with us. We're trying to be true to that heritage, but we're also trying to be cool, because it's important to me that we develop and diversify our business solutions group. And so we've been on this journey, and I think I'm sort of quite clear in what I want, in terms of I want a tone of voice which is very different to everybody else in my industry and lots of companies out there. I'm looking for that right tone of voice where we're not alienating people, because we some of us may be lawyers, for example. We want to really make it easy for people to engage with us. And so we changed the skill set of some of our experts, and have put them into a sales role because they are expert, but they're also very friendly. And now, having taken a lot from Bruce's coaching through sales coaching online, we have been able to make them into salespeople. So I don't think they're in the 74% that suck. I think they're in the 26% who are closing deals every day in a light-handed way, you know, not in your face way. And the thing about it is we can all live with it. So we know we have to do it. It's not the easiest of jobs, as I said, but it's essential for the business to continue to develop. So we have, you know, salespeople in the US and we have salespeople here, and they work in a distributed team, which is what I wanted. So I feel that, you know, having met this guy, you know, some time ago, I'm one of his devotees, and I think it's right what he's saying.
Yeah, because we talked last episode as well about putting that human face on business, and this is exactly what you're talking about as well.
Yeah.
Really bringing those people in with the skill set of being very human and relatable, because it just adds to customer service and it's part of the whole process.
Well, you know, when you talk, you know, we have a meeting every day at 5 o'clock, and we just get everybody on the phone and everybody pitches in, you know, and we hear what our competition are or are not doing. And often, you know, nobody picks the phone up,
Yeah.
you know, to actually talk about, you know, customers got an issue. So, like, well, if you don't pick the phone up and talk to people about what they want, how are you going to sell to them? How are you going to convert that person into a customer? And and I also prefer the word customer rather than client. I actually think customer is more powerful than client.
Client's quite cold as a word, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit snotty. I think, you know, I mean, we're all customers.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when we go into Marks and Spencer's and we take the trousers back or we take the dress back, we expect to be served as customers, not clients.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, there are some people on the high street that you can really aspire to in terms of their customer service. And I'm a big Marks and Sparks fan, you know, John Lewis. I mean, from the retail sector, you know how you want to be treated as a customer. So when you're buying a service, why would you want to be treated differently?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's what we've tried to make ourselves, you know, the Marks and Spencers of what we do.
And this is interesting because also, how does this evolve now? Because we live now in a much more digital age. So human to human is lovely, picking up the phone, but how do we embody that human to human connection online? What do we do? What thoughts have you got on that, Bruce?
Well, some of my personal websites have chat boxes so that people can talk to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can rule out the human connection. I think it's extremely difficult, which is why it's great that you've got really skilled marketing people who can create the opportunity for you to speak with people. It's very hard to do it without that.
Yeah, absolutely. So personalising digital channels then for SherGroup and kind of starting that ball rolling in terms of that engagement. What do you do for SherGroup? Or?
So there's a big misconception that marketing is about talking about the features of your product over and over and over again. But what it really is about starting that connection. So we need to talk about our story. We need to talk about who we are. We need to share conversations like this. So that starts maybe in our content marketing as a starting point, where Claire has an opportunity. She writes a blog for us, and she shares her thoughts. So it helps people to understand where we're coming from, how we think, and that's that first connection. And if we take marketing, we put it into a framework where we can almost design the customer's path from when they first hear about us at awareness stage and lead them through the customer journey all the way to the point where we recraft a return path for them. So we know that once they've become a customer, it's easy to buy from us again and again, because at every step of the way we're reinforcing who we are as humans. And that only comes through with the type of content that we share, how we answer people when they've got an issue on Facebook and they can't get hold of somebody. Having somebody there to answer them, a human, it goes a long way to distilling discourse. You know, when somebody's feeling a bit irate, at least somebody's heard me, and that's what they want. So every step of the way, our marketing is about helping you get to know us, making sure that you feel taken care of, and then hopefully you feel that strongly about us that you become an advocate for us, and you start talking to other colleagues, other connections about this great company that who's helped you with your problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's how we've crafted the marketing, and it's gone every step of the way to personalise it, with keeping the customer at the forefront.
And we send out chocolate.
And we send out chocolate. Yes, absolutely.
How do I become a customer? So kind of-
Send us some business, we'll show you. But I like chocolate.
I love it.
And I just think that our industry is, enforcement, where our roots are, is a pretty dry old industry. And, there's people that are making decisions about using SherGroup who are not managers, they're not owners, they're the feet on the ground, they're the foot soldiers that are doing the work. And we just decided that they were, sending us repeat business, but we weren't saying thank you. And so we started, our chocolate loyalty club, just to get people so that they got something, a small thank you back from us. It wasn't going to upset any corporate gift policies or cheese off the manager. But yes, our chocolate hampers and personalised Easter eggs and chocolate elves at Christmas have all become very popular, because we're saying thank you every time you get to a certain number of instructions. I don't know what Bruce thinks about that, but I think sometimes...
I wish I was on the list.
Yeah, I know. I'm like...
we can be, any of you can be. But, I think people... I drove it because I love chocolate. My kids have had chocolate for breakfast, that sort of mother. So I have a problem with chocolate. But I think some people think, marketing's got to be, the fancy dinner or the big bottle of wine. And you know what? People haven't really got time for that anymore. So I think this is just a easy way of saying thank you to anyone that sends us business. And, people do actually save up for their Easter eggs to get them from us, and they all come. And some people, donate them to charity, which is lovely.
That is lovely.
You use it however you wish, but we just do it. It's just part of our process.
Well, it's two things there as well. It's little treats, and people love little personalised things.
Yes.
And it's also developing consistency, and people love that you consistently do this.
And my team love it because they're actually not selling enforcement or security. They're actually selling chocolate. And, it becomes a real icebreaker when they ring up and say, oh, I haven't had any business from you for a little while. You're only one away from a hamper. Should we get that one in today? I hope the master over here is enjoying
I was just going to ask, actually.
And it just gets the customer over that line.
I love it. Bruce,
the business in.
Are you going to write a book about this new technique you've heard today?
No, it's already in some of them.
I copied it from somewhere.
I love it. What do you think about that approach, though? Do you think that's good?
Human.
Yes.
It's human. We were talking before we started videoing. I mentioned the fact that I do a lot of study of how the brain works and how it can be used to influence people's decisions. And I said that, the heart also has a brain. In fact, the brain sends only a few messages to the heart, the main one being keep pumping.
Yeah. Good.
But the heart sends multiple messages to the brain. And it's all about the heart. It's about establishing warm, trusting relationships. And what could be better than a chocolate bunny?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in.
Yeah, so, I think when we started it, I think some people were a bit sort of suspicious because why would you do that? But, it actually works out to be really cost effective. So what I would say is if you have an idea like that for your community, your customer community, then go with go with it, because it's authentic to us because I've explained to you about chocolate. But that in your business there might be something that you could do for your customers that would be really thoughtful and would again help your sales team, because it's really helped my sales team. They love it. They have fun.
I love it. And it's also universal. So, we can argue about knowing your customer, but actually that sort of universal product, anyone could have that. Lovely.
Yeah. So what I find as a marketer, one of the first things people will say to you is, well, we sell B2B or B2C, or But actually, if you really think about it, we sell human to human, and the whole sales process, the whole marketing process has to follow a natural progression of relationship. So if you are just banging on about your features and your products, buy, what you're essentially saying is, first time you meet someone is, let's get married. What I reckon it's going to be cool. And you have to have that slow progression, and little things like some chocolate, a phone call. It all helps to move the relationship along. And I suppose that's where the two, marketing and sales, really interlink.
Yeah. So going back to the digital, human to human, so Bruce, you actually do a lot of online content and digitised content, but you still manage to manage that relationship between human and digital, don't you? Talk to us a little bit about that.
I spent 20 odd years or more delivering 1, 2 and 3 day masterclasses. Claire mentioned earlier the Institute of Directors. They asked me back 23 years in a row to present that, and it was sold out every time. But what I noticed, and that's what people want, a lot of companies just want a 2-3 day intensive program. But I recalled, and I recorded so many times, listening to people as they were leaving the conference and other conferences, all over the world, in 23 countries. And as they were going out, I would listen to them. And the typical comment, I heard it thousands of times, was, I picked up 1 or 2 really good tips today. Here's me banging on for 7-8 hours and deluging them with the most brilliant content, and they picked up 1 or 2 good tips. And that's why I decided I was going to put a massive amount of what I know and teach online, but in a very different way. And it's based on the concept of micro-learning. None of my videos are more than 4 minutes long. Some of them are as little as 90 seconds long. They keep to one specific point, and my instructions are, watch one video, watch it again, go out and put it into practice, and when it's working really well for you, come back and watch another one. After a year, you're totally transformed. But bringing people in, face to face, seeing me on stage for 7-8 hours, it didn't really do what I wanted it to do. And I know, and I have proof of the results, and Claire has now, because you've been using it for some time.
Yes.
It works far, far better.
I love it. So I'm going to ask Claire, as one of your customers, what's been one of your favourite skills that you've learned and implemented from Bruce?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me, which was what I kept trying to lead my team to do, was referrals. And asking for referrals.
Okay.
And I just was not winning the conversation. So we would have one point of contact in a customer company or customer organisation, and we would keep going back to that one point of contact time and time again. And the reason is because the salesperson had a great rapport with that person and they kept giving them business. But the thing in our industry is you can run out of business because you've actually cleared up everything that they had to send you. You don't have any more business to send. So having got that rapport, what we started to do was to say, look, instead of speaking to Fred, why don't you ask Fred if, he knows who else in his department uses that service? And what I did was I brought Bruce in as sort of my virtual sales coach, because I wasn't getting the message across myself. And, as the owner of the business, if you keep demanding of your sales team, look, what's happening? What's going on? Why have we got more sales? Where's the business? You don't set the right tone, because you want to motivate people. Yeah. So Bruce came to me and said, look, I've got this new fantastic product. I've put all my coaching into these videos. I mean, there's over, 150, Bruce? Something like that?
More than that.
More than that. And I thought, hang on a minute. He's got all his videos online. Like, I can use them for my team. I don't have to bang the table anymore. But you know what I mean. I'm not the one doing the motivating. So he's doing the motivating. And my team I said, right, we're going to bring Bruce in, he's going to be virtual, we're going to watch this video every night in our 5 o'clock call. They totally laugh at him. You know, it's like Bruce says, okay, Bruce says, this is what we're going to do. I did what Bruce said. You know, you haven't met Bruce yet, you know, but they absolutely follow him. And that's exactly what I wanted, because I don't need to be, I do my, you know, I open my doors, I do my sales, I do my referrals. But my team, they're doing it, you know, that's their job. And they needed a coach. And I wanted somebody, excuse me, 74% of sales people suck. Okay, 74% of sales managers suck. You know, and therefore I wanted somebody that knew what they were talking about and who were going to deliver results. And it's a very cost-effective way of bringing a sales manager in without all the hassle of a sales manager.
Well, also it's totally accessible, isn't it? If your team go home and actually at 9 o'clock at night they're suddenly inspired and want to watch a video and think about the day ahead. Well,
and it's great for us because, as I say, we have a distributed team, so we have people in America, we have people here. The sales process across, and I hope you'll agree with me, any country is the same. It's a universal approach. It's not unique to the UK. And so, and actually my guy in the US had heard of Bruce. And so they all sit on the team, they all watch the video, they all apply it to their bit of SherGroup. And I think it's been fantastic. And I'm so pleased that he took all of that great content that I heard that first time that inspired me and has put it into this format, because people like Bruce don't do that very often. He's put a lot of effort into creating these micro sessions, which most people, you know, just would not make the time and effort to do that. And I think as a result of that, he's got a great product and a great presence, and we want to help him, showcase his expertise to a much wider audience.
Amazing. That is an endorsement and a half, isn't it, Bruce?
Absolutely. One of the best I've ever had.
I love it. So, Leanne, tell us a little bit more about this. So, building on this, how has SherGroup then, bridged this gap between the digital and the day-to-day processes of SherGroup?
So the last year we've spent really looking at how we future-proof the business, and that was combining our sales team, our operations team, and our marketing all onto one platform, which we call Sherpa. And that gives access to our clients. Our clients can have access to real-time reporting. But we've also included some additional resources for them, like Bruce's video library. So it's really easy for clients to be able to submit their cases, but also train their sales team just by logging into the portal. I think the key thing for marketing is about driving behaviors and behavior changes, and that's the same as with sales. And so I think what we really wanted to do was to share that same skill set and knowledge with our client base. And I think that's where Bruce's videos really come into their own.
Yeah. So my first question, sales or marketing, I've been fully overruled. It's a nice synergy between the two.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it. So thinking about ending up this little conversation today, what would be your key takeaway from some of our discussions or recommendations to our audience watching?
Well, what I would say, based on my own experience as a business owner and a business owner that's been through an industry with a lot of disruption, is that sales is your biggest challenge. And you can sweep that under the carpet if you like, but you'll get wall-to-wall operations people. You'll always be able to find people that do operations. They'll do them upside down, inside out. You will not find good salespeople easily, and when you do, they will need constant motivation and constant updating of their skills and going back over their skills. And that is what I think is my big takeaway from today, is that what Bruce has provided is not only training for today or tomorrow or next year. This training is evergreen. Is what you digital people say, isn't it? You know, it's evergreen. It never loses its colour, and therefore you put it into your business. You find a way to excite your team, get your team involved with it, and you get them to use it in their day-to-day work. and you don't forget about it. You don't go to the conference and get the nice folder and then come back and put it on the shelf and never look at it again. You make it part of your business process. And for those of you who think that, this has been easy, it hasn't for us, and it won't be easy for many, many businesses out there. It's something that is a constant challenge for us, particularly as we're all facing disruption through digitisation of our businesses. We have to find a way to keep selling. And I think what Bruce has provided to me, a light bulb went on and I thought, you know what, this is so easy. He's made it so easy.
That's amazing. I hope you're writing these all down, literally. Testimonial after
Hopefully I'll get
testimonial.
to see a recording.
Yes, I love it. So, Leanne, key takeaway from our discussion today?
That you have to sell to people. You have to connect on a very much a human platform, human basis, and you can't just talk about your product all the time. And I think as working with SherGroup over the last couple of years, we've really started to make headway on that, and we can see the fruits of our labour.
Definitely.
It's human to human. And Bruce, we're going to end on the guru. I love it. What key takeaway?
Albert Einstein said, the definition of insanity is to carry on doing the same things you've always done and expect different results. And if the sales team are going to improve and the sales results are going to improve, something has to change. And it takes a little while for something to become a habit, which is why I said, a 2-3 day intensive sales training course is all very well, but they're going to forget most of it. And as you said,
Put the
Claire,
folder on the
when
shelf.
you take the folder back, there's an awful lot of people whose bookshelves are a lot more intelligent than they are. But it's true.
Am I one of those people? I do like collecting business books, but no, you're right. And I mean, what sort of feedback have you had from people on the call about who've joined into sales coaching online? Are they are they finding it revolutionary?
I would say 99.9% extremely positive.
Yes.
But that's the feedback from the companies who have invested in it,
Yes.
and the individuals who have invested in it of their own accord.
Yes. Because you're working in Sweden, you're working in China. I mean, this is something that is going out to China now, and
It's launching in China quite shortly.
Launching in China.
amazing.
I'm still swatting up on my Mandarin.
Are you going to be dubbed into Chinese?
Yes, I'm dubbed into Chinese.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic. So, I mean, that's what I say. It's a universal product that he's produced. So I wanted him to come and talk about it today.
Yeah.
I wanted people to see and hear him, along with Leanne, because obviously Leanne is showing Bruce.
She's doing the marketing.
She's doing
of
the
the sales
marketing
coaching portal.
of the sales coaching portal, and we just want to reach out to more and more people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
So on that note, I suppose, Bruce, where can people find out more about you? How can they access your products online?
Just Google Bruce King Sales and you'll find me all over the place.
Everywhere.
And as far as the product is concerned, go to the SherGroup website. That's where it's being promoted. That's where you can watch some sample videos. That's where you can get more information and hopefully subscribe. It's the most cost effective and the most effective sales coaching there is.
So on that note, what an interesting episode we've had today.
yes, I told you we were going to do something completely different.
Yes.
And I think we've achieved that today because we are a business solutions group.
Absolutely. Thank you so much to our lovely guests.
Thank
you
you.
very much.
For having us.
Keep changing the world.
We will.
And we'll see you next month for our next edition.
Yes, thank you so much, Emily.
Thanks.